Hey there, welcome to day 2 of my 5 days of turning 55 as I share my reflective wisdom with you. So today I want to talk for a couple minutes about living your passion. Something that we talk about, sort of, many think it's like a catchphrase, but I see it as a much deeper thing and a much more important thing, especially for those of us in our 40s, 50s, and early 60s. Fellow Gen Xers, I have this conversation often and I get the response, I hear what you're saying. I would love it. Sounds great, except it's too late in my life. I'm too tired. I just don't even know how I could even do anything else because my schedule is so full. I have so many things to do. I'm just exhausted. My response to that is, that's because you're not living your passion. That's because you're not letting your heart sing, even though we tell ourselves we do. So I'm going to back up for a minute. Those of us in our generation, as I was talking about yesterday, many of us were the first latchkey kids. So we were sort of thrown to the wolves, had a lot of time to ourselves. And yes, it produced a very independent group of individuals. However, there was still the yearning for attention, for approval, and acceptance by our parents. And our parents' generation grew up believing that, you needed to just get a good job to pay the bills and then you can do your fun stuff on the weekend when you had time. And that's what they worked at imparting on us. Oh, that's so cute that you want to do that, except that's not going to pay the bills. So go to college for this, and then you can do that on the side just for fun. That's what we were told, many of us. And so many went to college for occupations that we were told would make them a good paycheck. Or got married and had kids and decided to stay home with the kids, and went a career or doing stuff out in public altogether. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of that. It's that when we do it because others expect it of us, when we do it because it tells the ego, well, that's what will make me be approved and accepted and loved, that is often not aligned with what's authentically in our hearts. And when that is not the case, when we're not authentically aligned with what makes our heart sing, we convince ourselves very well and suppress that for a long time, often for, decades. Then what happens is things start creeping up, like we get really tired. We exhaust ourselves. We frenetically fill our schedules so that we don't have time to think, because that's when the self-loathing comes up. And when the self-loathing comes up, well, then we have to look at that. However, then when we don't look at that, autoimmune disease happens. And look at the pervasiveness of autoimmune disease in our generations. And autoimmune disease and energetics has to do with self-loathing, because it's the body attacking itself. And when we do that, we also have, chronic fatigue syndrome. First generation to have that. So yes, we are running frantically, trying to please everybody, plus there's so much to be said about being what they're calling us the sandwich generation, because, taking care of our elderly parents and our kids because of the changes in the economy and stuff puts a lot of pressure in the middle. And that also makes us tired, especially when we're depriving ourselves of what it is that makes our heart sing. So when we give ourselves that honor, and that's what we deserve and we're worthy of it, then everything else falls into place and aligns. And honestly, then we become happier and we become nourished, because that's what nourishes us. It is truly what aligns with who we are, the note in the universal symphony, as I call it, that we came here to be, and fulfilling that. Because when we're anything short of that, that causes friction inside. It causes self-loathing. It causes suppression and resentment to ourselves and others around us, and causes a lot of problems long term. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that in the midlife generation. And we are just, as I said yesterday, we're just midway through. We have so much to do. And now, by the way, a lot of us have done the bringing the kids up and having the marriage or whatever. And then we're like, I want what I want now. And it's time. It's time for us to step into that. There's a woman I worked with for several years who came to me. She had a multi-million-dollar business that she had grown from the beginning, and a marriage, 3 kids, everything from the outside looked like it was perfect. And she told me she was miserable and exhausted. And I said, well, why are you miserable? What do you want to do that you're not doing? And she said, sing. So I said, well, find a way to sing. And I'm not saying, do it full time, but find a way to do it. So she started going to a karaoke bar. And funny enough, how the universe aligns to support this. There was a guy there one night who had a band and was looking for a backup singer. Asked her to do it. So then she started doing that just for fun on the weekends. And the ball rolled from there. And she said to me, when I started to sing, I realized it felt like the rest of my life was all in grays. And that one part of my life where I was singing and doing what I really loved was like saturated in color. Like it was vibrant red roses or something like that. And I was like, why wouldn't I want the rest of my life to be that way? And so she proceeded to change her entire life. Really, once she allowed that one seed of happiness, yes, it took work. And yeah, things changed, and there was some hurt and there was some tears. And yet at the end of the day, it turned out to be better. She has a completely different life now. It is vibrant. And actually she is singing full time. She changed her entire world, but she's vibrant and alive, and we're pretty much the same age. So that just started within the last 10 years for her. We can do it now. We don't have to wait. We don't have to put it off anymore. And it's going to change some things, but people who love us will still be around. People who only love what they think we are, that's okay. If we truly become who we are, then they only know a different person anyway, right? And when we are happy in that note and living our passion, whatever that is, it's contagious, and everybody around us feels the same way. And then they feel good around us. And then it's easy to do things with other people and for other people. So take a moment right now, put your hands on your heart, close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, and then feel into your heart and ask it, am I honoring you fully? Not other people, not our kids, our spouses, or our families. Are we honoring ourselves and nourishing ourselves fully? If you're tired, you know you're not. Are you doing it fully? That's the other question. And then just leave your heart open to say, I will allow even a little bit, because I know that will feed me. So I would love to hear in the comments below, do you follow your heart? Have you followed your heart? And it can't be anybody else, can't be your kids, can't be your spouse or anything else. Following your heart comes from the inside. It's self-fulfilling and self-effusing. And if not, let me know too. I'd love to hear it. Okay? So sit with that. You know how it feels.